Yo, what's up, dude? How's it going? Finally back on here to do a few more minutes on the Chapman ML-7T. This guitar has been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it these last couple of days. It's been awesome. It's been really awesome. I did put a little piece of foam up here to deaden these strings up here. It's not just this guitar. I've actually been a little bit more annoyed by this and cognizant and just aware of it. I think a lot more recently because I've been trying to work with my gates and try to turn the gates down just a hair. And so that I could get softer picking and it will still come through. And a side result of that is a little bit more extraneous noise. Not just this, but the springs on tremolo guitars. So I've been foaming those up too. I just took a little piece of foam. This is from like a pickup set. I think from a Seymour Duncan set of pickups. And it comes with like a slab of foam. I don't know where it went. And I just took a pair of scissors and cut a little bit off and stuffed it under. And it works great. So I noticed it, even on my Ibanez Artist and between the bridge and the tailpiece. So it's, they can be annoying. Again, things I didn't notice until I sort of lowered the gate a little bit. There's the gate kicking in. Much, much lower volume than what I had on a prior setting. Anyway, thought we could look at this a little bit more closely. These locking tuners, if you're not familiar, there's like a little thumb wheel on the back, and there's a hardened pin in the middle of the post. And this is the screw for that pin, right? What moves the pin up and down inside the post. So you unscrew that, and the post, the pin inside the post goes down and opens up, and you put the string through. You pull it tight like a tiger, and then you tighten it down. You cut the end off, and you tighten it up, and you don't even get like one wrap because it's already so tight up, you barely get any, like a half a turn, and it's up to pitch, which is great because they don't want windings. In fact, they sort of, knowing that you're not going to be winding and winding and winding around the post like you would with a string that's just held by friction, they keep the post really low. Right, they're very close to the top of the headstock, to the surface. They're very short, is what I'm saying. So that gives more of a break over the nut, right? Because they're lower to the face of the headstock, and that just gives more pressure on the nut, which is a good thing. Because at a certain point, if the pressure gets a little too light, you'll get nut buzzing in the slot. The string will rattle around a little bit. So it's always good to have it break like that and have some extra pressure down on the nut. A 3-piece maple neck with a beautiful ebony fingerboard. And I don't know if you saw the dots. It has the nice dots on the side. I go through this with my classical, my concert classic, my Fender concert classic. That has no inlay at all, not even on the 12th fret. But the side binding has these, markers. I want to say they're black over tortoise shell. So they're black dots in a tortoise shell. Let me tell you, they're a little hard to pick out. That one can be really tricky. These are so much more contrasty. It hasn't been an issue at all. It's got extra jumbo frets. I like extra jumbo frets because you don't get a lot of, scrape on the friction on the fingerboard. But just one sort of practical matter for extra jumbo frets is that there's just more meat on them. So when they wear down, instead of having them replaced, you can very often just have them recrowned because there's plenty of metal to work with. So you don't have to get them replaced. You can get them recrowned, and that's usually a lot cheaper than having them all replaced. So, just one sort of practical side is that larger frets last longer. Right. Has this swamp ash body with this set through construction. Again, super smooth, wide open. I really like it. Just a 3-way switch. To custom El Nico 7 pickups, and you can cut them. And I've been doing that a little bit. This is the Van 51. But I love the playability on this. I compared this to my Chinese import 7-string, and the neck on this is much smaller, as you would imagine. And of course, the pickups sound a lot nicer too. And I like the hardtail. This is a hip shot. These are hip shot tuners, a hip shot bridge. I like the through the back design. It's just rock solid. There's fewer tuning problems, and I just find that. It's hard enough to stabilize a 6-string, let alone a 7-string. So I think with all that extra tension, I don't know, it just always felt sort of, weird a little bit. Let's switch to maybe a little bit bluesier tone. Why don't we pull this? So you can get that bass note. Augmented, right? What I've been sort of fooling around with this, remember if I can play it. get out of Berkeley and you can't play that one. Actually, speaking of Berkeley, I think that was the first time I saw a 7-string. Was actually when I was at Berkeley. I went for a summer program, and as a part of that, you had a weekly lesson with one of their teachers. So when I showed up to my private instructor lesson for the week for the first time, the guy was playing a big fat, jazz body, hollow body guitar, which is pretty standard for Berkeley. But it was a 7-string. So I was like, hey, look at you, 7-string. What's up with that? And he basically said, sometimes when you hit some of these upper chords, you want a lower note to comp with that to give it a certain tonality. So sometimes, you're hitting a triad. Like, for example, if you played an E minor triad and you put a C in the bass, you would suddenly have a C major 7 chord, right? So certain triads, when you add a certain bass note, will imply a different chord than the triad you're playing. So he would like to use the extra low string to make up different chord voicings, right? That was his sort of big thing for it, which made a lot of sense because he's doing a lot of that. I can't play any of that. That straight up like comping stuff. And, he'd want to slide around and use that extra bass string. So he would use the top 4 strings for the comping for the chords, and the bottom 3 strings instead of 2. We'd have the bottom 3 strings for the bass note. And that was it, A couple of people said, what's up with the contest? It looks like you need a 7-string as a part of the contest. I don't know a ton of details about the contest, but I think I had seen that come up, and the guy who's running it, Riff City Guitar, he said you don't need a 7-string. You can use a 6-string and just detune it, right? I think he wants to hear what you can do with something outside the normal, right? An extended range is what he's calling it, extended range guitar. Don't be discouraged to enter because you don't have a 7-string. I'm pretty sure he was fairly clear that is absolutely not necessary. All right. But go to the Riff City Facebook and you can see, everything on there. A couple people are upset because it was on Facebook, but I think that's just an easy way to host something like that. You got to remember that Facebook has applications that can help host a thing like a contest and help post videos, and people can judge them and vote on them. All that is very easy in an app within Facebook. So yeah, Facebook is sort of it, But I understand people don't want to be on it took me forever to get on Twitter. Forever. I finally got on Instagram, all that. I went kicking and screaming too, but sooner or later I'd get on there. Anyway, just wanted to run a couple more minutes of this, and I got a bunch of videos in the works. I was stalled a couple of days because I was getting worried that my old oil tank was going to burst, and we've gotten rid of our oil burner like 6 years ago, and it's time to get rid of the half a tank of oil that's been sitting there for 6 years. And I finally had someone come drain it, cut the tank in half, and get it out of here. And so this whole place, you can't see it, but it's all in shambles because I had to I had it all packed in there nice and tight. Everything had to come out, and one giant project after another. But all right, dudes, thanks for stopping by, and as always, rock on.